Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Real List podcast, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
That was a lot of effort to turn on a lamp.
Yeah, it was. Leave me alone, okay?
Well, the selection's from you. I didn't pull the thing up, my bad. Hold on. You can talk about it, though.
So, like we said in the last episode, we watched Joker, a 2019 film with directed by Todd Phillips and based on characters and comic books published by DC Comics.
Of course.
You have Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz.
Is that the
Yeah, it's her. And Frances Conroy. Oh, she was also in American Horror Story a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. But, yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah. This is quite a movie. It's a Batman film without Batman.
Yeah, it's basically another Joker origin story.
Well, it's funny because I feel like you don't get Joker origin stories too often. You know, when the Joker shows up in my favorite DC movies, being the Dark Knight trilogy, you don't really get a backstory for him. In fact, he subverts that by giving you a bunch of different backstories over the course of the movie. You know, you want to know how I got these scars? And I actually kind of enjoyed Joker being an actual clown. Like, that was his job before he went nuts. And I know that this is very much a sort of different take on how you get Joker. I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker, they don't really explain how he came about, of course. Some previous Jokers, it would be like, oh, he was an otherwise normal man that, like, fell into a vat of acid.
Well, in all honesty, Heath Ledger's Joker cannot be met. I think Joaquin Phoenix came very close because, you know the scene where he
Stair dance?
No, not the stair dance. He punched the time clock when he got fired.
Yeah.
That was improvised, I found out.
Oh, okay.
He left, and then he came back in and punched the time clock so hard that it fell off the wall, but he almost broke his hand in the process as well.
I mean, I could believe that.
It was very improvised.
At the same time, though, I'm surprised that is improvised because the time clock just fell off the wall. I mean, you gotta hope the prop department didn't set it up so sturdy so you do break your hand. But I suppose it was going to be, I'm going to punch this thing as hard as I can without shattering my fingers. And if something funny happens, something funny happens. I mean, I guess that's improv.
Yeah. So you have Heath Ledger's Joker. You have Jared Leto's Joker. And then you have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
No. You have Heath Ledger's Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and then a big giant gap. And then Jared Leto's Joker down there.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm trying to say is that I think Heath Ledger is top, and then Joaquin Phoenix
is the bottom.
Is the second, and then Heath Ledger is the bottom.
Oh, no, okay. So, I was talking about the origin stories in general. I mean, we can compare the performances, certainly. I do agree with you that Heath Ledger's Joker is something special, but we're not here to talk about the Dark Knight trilogy. Maybe we will be someday, but I know those aren't your favorite movies. They are... I would rate them very highly, particularly Dark Knight.
I have to be in the mood to watch them, because it's just... you have... it's Batman, and then they give you the Joker and whatever, but we're not talking about that movie.
I was gonna say, which movie are we reviewing again? So yeah, it is an interesting premise for the Joker, and then just to follow Joker around as he becomes this big sensation, pretty much completely by accident.
Yeah, exactly. He was a clown, like a party clown, or like one of those rent to hire clowns
with a gun.
And he got jumped in the beginning of the movie by some kids, and he gets blamed for stealing the sign that he was assigned to, and then one of his coworkers gives him a gun, and then the coworker's like, "Oh, I didn't give him that gun," trying to play it off on him. And you also get introduced into this this mental disability, like this mental disability that he has with the laughing,
Yeah,
and
which
he
is an
has the
interesting
card,
thing.
and he's got like this chronic laugh, and he's uncontrollable, and so he has this card that he carries around with him all the time, and people think he's weird for it, and I'm just like, no, he's unstable.
And he tries to do stand-up comedy,
Yes, he
which
tries to do stand-up comedy.
is the catalyst for a lot of what goes on in the movie. But I do want to point out something that I didn't catch on until you basically yelled at me, like, get it straight. Because I didn't realize, or I guess I didn't figure there would be so much unreliable narrator in the movie. Everything from him failing to do stand up onward is a huge pile, not everything, but a lot of things, everything good in his life is just unreliable narrator. Him getting together with the girl that lives down the hallway, people actually laughing at his stand up routine, that sort of thing. And you take these moments, and in context, they seem like, oh wow, he's actually hit it off, and you wonder why he's still losing it. And it's because he's losing it. It's because none of that stuff actually happened.
Yeah. Also, his mother, her name is Penny Fleck, and she is also mentally unstable, and she's like, oh, Thomas Wayne will take care of us. Thomas Wayne will do this. Thomas Wayne, she's like, we're all family in Thomas Wayne's eyes. And she's been writing letters to him from ever since she got laid off working as a maid in his house. And
which was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and then she had told Arthur, or Joker, that she had a letter that she wanted him to mail out, and he read the letter, and it says that Arthur is Thomas Wayne's son.
Yeah.
Which is not true. Which he comes to find out is not true, that his mother adopted him, and she did horrible things to him, and she was a very unfit mother, and
yep. He was beaten by her boyfriend.
He was chained up to her radiator, and she said, I didn't even hear him crying.
Yeah, the other thing, I mean, it is of note that there is so much unreliable narrator in this movie, and you want to root against Thomas Wayne and the talk show hosts and stuff, because you're following Joker around, and Joker has a negative opinion of these people, and it stands to wonder if, well, what if Penny is telling the truth in some respect? But I doubt it. The movie isn't framed that way. It is framed such that Thomas Wayne and, what was the talk show host's name? Whatever his name is.
Can you click over to Wikipedia?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure we can find it.
Sure. Oh, it's Murray something.
Oh yeah, Murray. Murray whatever. But it's the Murray Show. The thing is, based on what we see...
Murray Franklin.
Murray Franklin, thank you. Based on what we see of Murray in his moments behind the scenes with our protagonist. Yeah, he seems like a genuinely nice guy who cares about the people he's bringing on the show. And, he's obviously... I mean, he's doing his entertainment bit, but he seems like a nicer person behind the scenes than he is on stage. Yeah. And also, Thomas Wayne, despite the, if you ever touch my son again, I'm going to effing kill you, which is not an unjustified response to what Joker did to little baby Batman.
Little baby Batman. Little baby Batman.
It is like, he seems like a genuinely nice guy who actually cares about the city and is trying to do his best to, because he's running for mayor, he wants to improve the situation. I know, he's a politician or he's trying to be one, so you don't necessarily trust him. But I feel like in the context of the film, it is kind of important to recognize that, yeah, these people are, they are who they say they are. They're not being super disingenuous. The only people being disingenuous, the only people lying are, well, Arthur's mother and
Arthur's brain.
and Arthur's brain. That's about it. I mean, yeah, okay, you can fault the head of the clown company for not believing him when he says that I got jumped and they stole my sign, and
he was like, yeah, return the sign. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but he's just, he probably deals with this kind of crap all the time, and he probably is tired
Like
of
the
putting up
lady,
with Arthur.
like the lady on the bus as well, when he was like trying to make the little boy laugh, and the little boy was laughing, and she was like, "Don't you you trying to be weird with my son?"
Yeah,
And then he started laughing, and he handed her the card, and she was like, "Is this some kind of joke?"
yeah. And he doesn't even get the card back.
No, because the card says return card to the person, and he never gets the card back.
Yep.
He probably has 1,000 of them because he's probably never gotten them back.
Yeah, he probably has to keep a bunch of extra cards. Um, which, I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for his mother. They're stricken with mental illness. And, I mean, the, um, the place that he goes to for counseling and
Yeah,
medication
they
gets
cut
shut
their
down.
funding.
Yeah, and so he asks, oh, like, where am I going to get my meds?
Who am I gonna talk to? And the lady was like, they don't care about people like us or
Yeah,
people like you.
basically nobody. Yeah, like your host.
Well, yeah,
And
like you're gonna run out of your medication and you're gonna mentally collapse and you're gonna run rampant in the streets like everybody fucking else.
yeah, and they never specifically go back to, oh, he's run out of medication. They never show him with an empty bottle. I was
No.
expecting that Chekhov's gun to fire at some point.
Yeah, you were waiting for him to run out of medication, and then you'd be like, oh, here's where he runs off the rails.
Yeah, but it is this slow descent into madness, and the movie is more subtle than that, The movie is there to set up things for you, but not necessarily explicitly explain them. And honestly, I think that is you could fault that storytelling because it's not necessarily answering your questions, but I think the way it goes about it is ultimately good because it means that there's plenty of room to dive into, even if those things that you can dive into seem like they would be fairly major plot points. Um, it's just you see the consequences of stuff without it being lampshaded, without it being just directly pointed out to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I do feel like they could have done a better job at showing where Joker is being an unreliable narrator. Because, like I said, it totally missed me until later, and until you told me. But, that's just part of it. You need to recognize that, yeah, these characters that are Arthur's enemies, really, I'm not talking about his boss, are genuinely, at least appearing to be, good, upstanding people. Even the one who gives him the gun that he ends up just murdering in his apartment later.
Yeah, that was a lot.
And he turns to the little guy and he's like, "You're the only one who was never nice to me."
He's
And
like, you can go,
yeah,
and he like kisses his forehead.
yeah. Um, between that and you don't know what he did to the girl in the apartment down the hallway, or her daughter. She's like, my daughter's sleeping in the other room, and then it cuts to him back in the apartment, and you can just hear ambulances outside. And did you not notice that?
I don't think he did anything to her.
I think he did everything to her. I think it's implied. I think she's dead, at least, and her daughter is also quite possibly dead. Um,
I don't know. I don't think.
no, I don't.
Because you don't know. Just because you hear it's Arkham.
Yeah,
There's also riots going on in the streets as he's speaking right now.
right, but this is a movie. That wouldn't be a coincidence. He goes in there, finger gun to head at the girl. He goes in there with a specific intent, and they have that short interaction, and it cuts back to him in his apartment, and there's ambulances outside. There's only one conclusion that I think you're supposed to draw from that, because
There wasn't an ambulance outside.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Yes, there
What are you
was.
talking about?
You could hear the sirens and see the lights of it pulling up outside of his window when it cuts back to him in the apartment. That is a really impactful moment, because it's the first, premeditated murder that he does.
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I'm certain of this. I am
I'm
100%
pretty
certain of
sure.
this.
I don't think he.
Uh, so
I
yeah,
don't think. I don't think he
I'm
kills.
pretty sure.
I don't
I'm
think he
pretty sure
kills
he does.
her.
I'm pretty sure he does. Uh, well, it actually doesn't say.
See,
It doesn't say either way, but I bet you he does.
I bet you he doesn't.
Hmm. I feel like it's a deliberate choice to have the sirens at that moment after he leaves the apartment.
Baby, you also have to think that there's riots going on out in the streets because Arthur also killed those three guys on Wall Street.
I know. I'm just saying it's a scripted film. There aren't coincidences.
Yes, but he wouldn't. I don't think he would kill her if he thinks that they have some sort of relationship.
Well, he just found out that they didn't.
I don't think he would kill her.
I don't know. And in fairness, it may be out of character, even for his insane self. But it it strikes me as something that he could have done, and I think it is left intentionally ambiguous at best. Uh,
You're ambiguous at best.
yeah, I am. Um, I mean, as it goes further on, you have the session with the therapist at the very end of the movie where you don't see him kill her and you just see him walking away with the bloody shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it is true that every murder he does is not hidden, so maybe it wouldn't fit the motif. But I think that it is at best intentionally ambiguous. Uh,
I can guarantee you, if she didn't die, she definitely moved out of the apartment the next day.
I mean, I would hope. This doesn't seem like the kind of city or, the kind of people living there that have a lot of upward mobility, that have a lot of option in terms of where they can live, you know?
I mean,
That's
she works at Arkham. She works at Gotham Bank, so
now you're convincing me he killed her.
why?
Because she works at the bank.
What does it
You
have
know,
to do with anything?
Well, he seemed pretty chuffed that the people he killed were Wall Street bankers. He even calls it out on the Murray Show.
yeah, but he didn't know they were Wall Street bankers until
Right,
afterward.
but didn't he know she was?
Yeah, just because he followed her to the bank doesn't mean he killed her because she works at the bank.
No, but I think it opens the door to that possibility a little bit more.
No, I don't think he did.
No, you don't think it's possible that it was left ambiguous on purpose so that you can draw those conclusions if you think that he might do something like that if in a situation where it seems like all the good things that he had imagined he had in life, that he thought he had because he was lying to himself, he's suddenly confronted with the realization that those don't exist. And he's instead faced with a person who has the same agenda or the same MO or doesn't live the same life, but has connections to the people that he is quite happy that he killed, actually, it turns out. I think there's a lot of threads that line up here. He followed her around. He thought that he had this connection, and then he goes in there and he makes the gun to head motion, which,
Yeah, because
I'll be honest,
because that's what she did to him in the elevator when
yeah,
they first
I know,
met.
and that's my point. Like, he took that, and from that moment I was like, oh my god, he's going to kill her because she's asking for it, and he's going to figure, aha, yeah, wouldn't we all love to do that? Because that's what he wants to do. That's his original plan when he goes on the Murray Show.
I don't think he killed her.
Maybe he's just upset at her. Maybe he thinks he's helping her get what she wants. But
You're reading way too much into it.
Are you acting
reading,
like this is a movie that you're not supposed to read into?
You are psychoanalyzing this movie way too much.
Analyzing.
Shut up. Okay?
I feel like this movie is there to be psychoanalyzed. I feel like that is like what you've got to do here. Because the important thing about this, to come back to it, is that you have these characters that are genuinely good people, and he thinks they're the worst.
I spilled water on my shirt.
Yeah, you did. It's not bad. It looks like a little mortar and pestle. Um, but he thinks the good guys are the bad guys, and you're with him, so you want to sympathize with him, and you want to be like one of those people in the masks in the streets, like yeah, down with the, down with the ruling class, because these people are in a terrible situation,
And
obviously.
not to mention, didn't this movie come out like right before George Floyd died, or during?
I don't know. Um, I thought that was during coronavirus.
I mean, this movie came out in 2019.
Yeah, so that was before coronavirus. Yeah, so this was it came out a
Right,
good half a year at
yeah,
least
before.
Yeah, I and even if it came out similar in space, I don't feel like there would have been enough time for it to be adapted. I mean, protests like this are nothing new.
Well, especially if you're basing the movie in Gotham.
Of course.
Protests like this are nothing new, and you have to think after after Joker shoots Murray, he gets taken away by police, and then the streets are just flooded with all these rioters, and the streets are on fire, and like he's laughing to himself in the back of this police car, and the policemen are like, "You think this is funny? You think this is funny?" And then you got these blurry headlights coming, and then impact with the what was it?
It was an ambulance.
And
the one that took away the dead girl's body. Now she's mad at me. You were saying.
Shut up. And then you see afterwards the people in the clown masks coming up to the car, and they're like, "Oh, that's him! It's our Messiah!" And they take him out of the car, and they like gently lay him on the on the hood of the car, and then he comes to and he coughs up some blood, and that's what happens after you get into a car accident.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, get up, and then he's like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
This
and
is
then he is Joker. Then he is
Joker. And then the great thing is, as all this has happened, well, not the great thing, the thing, the thing
it's
is,
so great.
While all this is happening, they're trying to empty out all the the businesses with all the wealthy people in it, and then you see Thomas Wayne, his wife, and baby Batman. And to leave the theater, they set the scene for, when Batman's parents are murdered.
Yeah.
And, they're like, you get what you fucking deserve, Thomas Wayne. And they shoot Thomas Wayne. And then, the whole ripping of the mother's pearls and shooting him and leaving Batman, little baby Batman there. Yeah.
Yep.
They set the scene for Batman's parents' murder.
Which I am kind of disappointed that we never got a Batman movie in this continuity. Like, the new Batman has nothing to do with Joker.
I
like
have no
Joker.
idea. I've never seen. I don't know if anybody's read.
I was looking it up.
Oh yeah.
I was looking it up because I was
do.
like, I need to know if this is a continuation of this story, because I mean, in fairness, it's the same thing that we've seen before. You could just roll straight from here into the Dark Knight trilogy, and it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. Or like any iteration of Batman with the Joker, but mostly more the more grounded ones. But yeah, we view this whole movie through Arthur's twisted perspective, more so than you could even more so than you might even think you are, and that twists your whole perception of the situation. And I think the only person to sort of pierce that veil is Murray right before he gets shot. Mm-hmm. When he's just like, wow, you've got a lot of self-pity. And that, like, that struck me so hard because I remembered a situation where I sort of got the same response because I was being all woe is me about nothing. And that's not to say that Arthur doesn't have things to complain about, but...
I mean, he's just found out his whole life was a lie, basically.
Yeah, of course. And then he killed his girlfriend. But...
Can you stop? Like, seriously, stop. She didn't die. I'm telling you this right now. I've seen this movie 3 times now. She does not die.
I mean, I watched the same movie that you did. Unless she shows up after that scene, there's no way of telling one way or the other. without like asking the writers. I think at best it is intentionally ambiguous.
I don't think he killed her.
I don't know.
No, I think you need to get off the topic, or I'm gonna hit you.
Oh, okay. This is what we've come to. I guess I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go back to touching you with really cold hands in the middle of episodes.
If you do that, we're getting a divorce, and I'm taking the kids.
You can take the one that pees everywhere.
No, I'm taking them both.
No.
You can't have one. Mine.
I don't know about that. Anyway, let's do our star ratings, which I'm going to give this 4 stars because it is a very, very good movie. But I can't say that I enjoyed it too much, especially for the first half. I was on edge for a lot of it.
It's a 2-hour long movie. What do you want?
It is kind. Well, I'm not saying it's bad because of its pacing, although it is a little bit slow at the beginning.
It's better than Space Jam.
I think the build-up is not necessarily unimportant. But I feel like maybe it could have been a little bit better because I mean we had to watch this in 2 pieces, and when we got sat back down to watch the second half,
You had no idea what was going on.
that's not accurate.
I asked you. I was
I-
like, "Do you know what's going on?" You're like, "I have no clue."
I mean that does sound like something I would say, but I didn't necessarily mean that I knew nothing. Either way, what you said to me was it picks up here.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it did.
The thing is, okay, I remember why I said that because we came back to the scene of him like walking through the park, and I had no idea what the context for that was. Like I knew all the stuff that had led up to that moment, but I had no idea what the context for it was, and I think it's when he was stalking the woman.
You just spit on my face.
I'm sorry.
We didn't even talk about the whole him being chased by the cops and
What, like when he goes through the subway train and starts the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting scene. Yeah, we could talk about his interactions with the mob of people that exist because of him by accident. But, like, that is a really interesting sort of background thing where the world is falling apart because of him, but he's not doing it on purpose. He's just sort of going about his loony life, and meanwhile these protests keep escalating, but he's not intentionally going out to feed or create these protests. It is a sentiment that is within the city that he is bringing to the fore because he's someone who's bold enough to do it. I mean, this film is a commentary in many ways, but it's also a commentary on how all it takes is one person who is, if you can say, brave enough, for better or for worse, to say something or do something outrageous for the people that might want to do something like that to want to follow in that person's footsteps. Again, for better or for worse, this happens in positive ways and negative ways. But what about you? What's your star rating? You've seen this movie 3 times.
4.5.
4.5? Okay. What?
4.5 stars because I've seen it 3 times and it kind of doesn't resonate with me. It resonates with me, but like not to the point where I'm mentally unstable and I need to be put in an asylum.
It
Like,
doesn't resonate to the point where you want to just go out and shoot a talk show host? That's so weird.
Oh yeah, here I come, Jimmy Kimmel. I'm kidding.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm kidding.
That is a joke. That is a joke. Parody redacted in Minecraft. We cannot say that. We cannot name specific talk show hosts.
I'm coming for you, Murray Franklin.
Okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, no, that's bad. We can't say that on air. That's a way to get yourself into big trouble.
I was joking.
Good thing
All
there are all of
jokes.
like 3 people that watch this podcast. But when we hit it big and people go back and watch episode 15, then we're gonna be reported and we're gonna be put in Arkham Asylum.
Like I said, it doesn't like it. I feel bad for Joker, because he was lied to for a majority of his life and horribly mistreated, and people constantly make fun of him, and we've all been there in our points in life, and so I can kind of relate.
Yeah, I think that's where the Joker gets a lot of its traction, is that there are things in this film, at least in a small way, that people can relate to. You can relate to those feelings of self-pity. You can relate to the feeling of awkwardness when you're trying to do something and you don't know what you're doing. Like when he's trying to do stand up, you can relate to, you know, this existence of this upper class that doesn't really seem to help the little guy any, and you can feel like the little guy all the time. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that you should go and burn down a store and shoot a talk show host. So, you know, it has its limits.
Burn down a store.
Yeah. I mean, Joker didn't do that, but the rioters were burning cars and businesses. Yeah.
Crashing into other people and
Yeah, it does not mean you should steal an ambulance.
Killing multimillionaires and their wives and leaving their orphaned sons.
Yep. Not a thing you should do, especially if you do want to be a criminal, because that's how you get Batman. And
yeah, we don't need a vigilante running in these streets.
Well, I mean,
okay?
we kind of do though. Like, I wouldn't really be upset if Batman was real. I would be upset about the circumstances that arose to create the Batman, but like, I don't necessarily think that like you're gonna get the comic power struggle of like, oh, you have a superhero, so you need a supervillain. Because Batman is not, like...
Batman's not even a superhero,
Batman doesn't have
though.
any powers. He's just real smart.
Super rich.
Yeah, exactly.
He has so much money he doesn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
The bank must be finding that weird. Be like, oh, Mr. Wayne is buying this stuff.
Well, he buys it all directly from his company. So, I don't think there's much banking involved.
Yeah, but don't you think the company's like...
Well, he has Morgan Freeman, aka God, on the inside, that's feeding him this tech. I mean, if you're gonna go with the Nolan trilogy sort of assessment of it, he's just sort of siphoning off surplus stuff that the company makes, and it's being buried in the books. And actually, doesn't that come up in one of the movies? That there's like the file on him, that's the Wayne Enterprises, like the books that show that he is Batman. I feel like that comes up. I need to rewatch those movies. Anyway,
who was the Batman? Who was Batman in the trilogy? Was it Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Christian Bale was way better than Ben Affleck. I'm sorry.
Well, that's because those movies are ridiculously good. I mean,
Christian Bale is way better than Ben Affleck.
Okay.
What?
Oh man. Well, we need to round out the episode here. So,
like, comment, and subscribe.
I have things that I'm supposed to say.
Well...
Which is, if you think that woman is dead or alive...
Don't listen to him!
Say
don't,
something!
Don't listen to him! Don't listen
something.
to him! No!
Put a comment if you think that... just what you think happened.
No!
And also, like the video if you like this and you want to see more of it. You're going to see more of it anyway. We're not going to stop making these. We have so many movies to watch. And we need to get this channel up to 100 subs so we can fix the thing. So please subscribe. And, hey, babe, let's go watch Space. Let's go watch The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Don't listen to him.
She's dead.